It's a pretty slow start, but what a surprise. This is a tale of two movies, or two halves really. I was fully prepared to crap on this movie because the first half of it did very little to make me care about the characters or the story. About halfway through the film, an event happens, again I won't spoil it, but it changes the course of the entire movie. From the character motivations to the emotional impact and the overall plot, it actually made me invested in what was going on. Before, the film had felt like a very paint-by-the-numbers underdog sports flick. 1990s, I'm talking to you. Older washed-up coach who could have been the best in their field but got injured and never continued? Check. Underdog competitor who is entirely out of their depth with all the odds stacked against them? Check. Wait, is this Mighty Ducks? This sounds a lot like Mighty Ducks. David Harbour as Gordon Bombay. So the concept of this film is this is a true story based off the video game franchise called Gran Turismo. This is not Gran Torino, that is a Clint Eastwood film. This is not Grand Turismo, although it does translate to Grand Tour, which is what the cars do in this film. They go on a Grand Tour race, often for very long distances, with this film showing a 24-hour race that takes place. Ugh. Dude, even if you are taking shifts, 24 hours in a car? No thanks. I mean 12 hours in a car. I'm good. Gran Turismo is a video game. It's a car racing simulator by developer Polyphony Digital and published by Sony, and it is made to be as realistic to real life as possible. A Nissan marketing head played by Orlando Bloom decides to create a competition for these gamers to land them a spot in the GT Academy. It's a racing school where they will learn to drive real race cars.
You really think you're going to take a kid who plays video games in their bedroom, you're going to strap them to a 200-mile-an-hour rocket? It'll tear them to pieces.
So it's kind of this epic opportunity for a few gamers to become real-life race car drivers. Our lead character, British gamer turned race car driver Jan Mardenborough, tries against all odds to land a top spot and see if gaming can translate into real-world experience. Ooh la la! So what are some of the positives about the movie Gran Turismo? The cinematography and the fast-paced edits make you feel like you are right there in the race yourself. The use of sound effects in this film really heightens the experience and creates some very tense situations. There are also some very fast-paced drone shots that go over the cars and make you really feel the speed of the cars, which can get up to like 300 miles per hour. The story is interesting, it just takes a little while to get going. It kind of stalls out in the beginning and then spends the second half of the film making up for lost time. One of the biggest issues the film faces in the first half is that there isn't much going on outside of the competition. So why should we care about our lead character, Jan? What are the stakes? Why does any of this matter? They do lay some groundwork with Jan's relationship to his father, but do little else to endear you to the character, at least initially. Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom before we can go up. Man, David Harbour is great in everything he touches. Whether he's hanging out with Eleven, eating Eggo waffles in the Upside Down, or beating the shit out of people as Santa Claus, he always brings his A game. It's a pretty forgettable performance from Legolas. Orlando Bloom isn't given a whole lot to do. He's a marketing spokesperson for Nissan and just doesn't have a whole lot of depth. I think it would have been more interesting if him and Harbour's character had clashed more. Jaimon Hansu does a fantastic job as well. He's not in the film a whole lot. He plays the father of Jan, and he has one of the absolute best scenes in the entire film. You are a good boy who loves school and a soccer. A little blood diamond for you. Archie Madokwe did a solid job as the lead playing Jan. He can come off as slightly generic in the first half of the film as he's not really stretched as an actor, but in the second half, he's able to let his rising talent really shine. Have you ever had that thing where you're crying and you're somewhat embarrassed to be crying and don't want to be seen crying? He pulls that off in a scene and it's really well done. So small touches like his musical choice of Kenny G and Sail Away before his races add some real life humor and depth to this film. It's used sparingly and to great effect. This musical choice was actually taken from Jan Mardenborough's real life experience. He loves that smooth, sexy sex. He even acted as a stunt double for his character in the film. So kind of a random thought, but I was just thinking, how expensive is this sport? So if you watch something like tennis and someone smashes their racket, it's like $200 down the drain. But if you watch someone crash one of these cars, which they do very often, there's a lot of damage to these vehicles, it's like 200 thou. 500 thou, $1 million, just for one race. So some of the themes that are present in the Gran Turismo movie are do what you love. Oftentimes in life, you may be doing something that others particularly your parents, don't see as a viable way to make an income. You may have friends and family who don't support you whatsoever, but you've got to do what you love. Their path is not your path.
Jan, all you do is play video games with some crazy dreams of racing cars.
Playing a video game or creating YouTube videos can seem like just a waste of time. But as we know, it can eventually be a viable source of income, as it was for Martinborough. So go follow your dreams and do the things that you're passionate about. So I didn't feel a whole lot emotionally until the second half of the film, in which an event takes place that really flips the movie upside down. There's a beautiful driving sequence in which they played one of my favorite Bon Iver songs. It's called Wash, and it was like the movie was willing me to start liking it. Because up until that point, I wasn't really that interested in the movie. There's a scene between Jan and his father that was absolutely beautiful and really endeared me to the film. Gran Turismo clocks in at 2 hours and 15 minutes. They definitely could have shaved some time off. There's a romance that doesn't really go anywhere, and I felt like we could have done without that. So the film ultimately lands in an interesting place that has real stakes and emotional depth. But sometimes the fellow patrons in the theater that you're watching the movie in can have an effect on how much you enjoy a movie. So for the first half, it was very distracting because some people were moving to seats that weren't theirs. And yes, there was the return of the non-service dog that literally sat right next to me. I don't know how I get the dog sitting right next to me every time. It's not great when you have a dog's ass right next to your popcorn and drink, and the owner looks over at you and says, "Is this okay?" Yes, I love getting your dog's taint dust in my popcorn and dingleberries in my drink. So who is this movie for? Gran Turismo is definitely for gamers who have enjoyed the franchise from PlayStation and Polyphony Digital. I will say if you have younger kids, they will likely get bored, and they do drop the one F-bomb that PG-13 films are allotted. This movie was surprisingly entertaining and good, more so than I thought it was going to be. I actually would recommend this film, even though I thought it was going to be just a generic cash grab off a well-known IP. Intellectual property. If you like racing, cars, or just fast-paced action movies in general, you'll enjoy this film. It also packs some emotional depth that I really wasn't anticipating. So give it a watch and let me know what you think. Make sure to subscribe, check out my latest video here, and I will catch you in the next one.